Hello, everyone. Welcome back. In this episode today, in particular, I'm gonna talk about some of my experiences so far throughout this whole thing. And since I'm kind of documenting it, first-person view. That's kind of my video style. As it happens, as it unfolds, you're all seeing it, just like how I'm seeing it. In not in real time, of course, but I don't do any edits. So what you're seeing is exactly what I'm seeing, or what I'm saying exactly what I'm saying. So in this episode here, I'm going to be pointing at this chart, of course, but I'm going to be talking in this particular episode of this concept of stored value, and I want to bring that up because I think that's an integral part of how Bitcoin works, and how, as an investor, you can take advantage of that concept. All right, and so I I think I did an episode, and again, I'm not a professor. I didn't go to school for this. The only way my experience comes from real life experience. Okay, and so I'm just trying to maybe share that with you, and hopefully you would get some good information out of that. So, anyways, um, uh, here's what I'm getting out of this whole experience is that um, you know Bitcoin and stored value, you know, it's the same concept as any resource that we have here on Earth, and how that resource translate into a monetary value or a stored value, and how you can utilize that to create your wealth. All right, and so I kind of want to talk about that just a little bit, and because I'm experiencing some really strange phenomenon with Bitcoin, and I'm going to try to show you what I'm talking about. Let's just go to a weekly on this. All right, so this is a weekly, and yeah, there's Bitcoin right there. It's got a heartbeat now, and it's got a pulse. It's coming alive on its own, independently of any government, uh, any financial system. Uh, Literally, open source software for the open source people, which is anybody and everybody. So let me see. Okay, and so my experience with Bitcoin has been very similar to what you're seeing here. Okay, and um, when I first started, I started um, right about this time frame. Okay, but I just wanted to put an analogy to this particular chart analysis here to my experience with Bitcoin and my use of Bitcoin, because when I first started, I said I started here, but if you look at the chart, look at how this chart is practically nothing, and then it gets its first heartbeat. It's alive, and then it gets a second heartbeat. It's even more alive, and my experience with Bitcoin since here has been similar to this chart. My first increase in buying and selling wasn't a lot, it was okay, um, but it took some time, and then of course it came down, and then I had to muddle through. But as you meet the right people, and you're being supplied, and also you're buying and selling, um, Bitcoin has become like this to me right now, and to some degree like this. It has its ups and downs, okay. But overall, this chart is basically the same thing I'm experiencing with Bitcoin. right now through trading in the real physical world and and extracting value. Okay, I'm extracting value from my computer. It's a weird concept to think about how what I did. I paid someone a legal tender for Bitcoin, so I transferred the value of money into Bitcoin. It sounds kind of weird, but at the same time, the actual money itself was given to somebody else. All right, and I don't know how to explain that phenomenon other than we're in an age where, at least electronically, at least some form of electronically, you could be two places at once. Okay, and that's kind of what Bitcoin and hard money kind of is. You could have a physical presence in cyberspace, okay, the internet, the ecosystem, whatever you want to call it, and also in the physical world here in reality. So the money it never goes anywhere, and Bitcoin never goes anywhere. Excuse me. So Bitcoin stays digital, money stays physical, is my point. But it's interesting that I can transfer the current value of any fiat currency into Bitcoin. All right, and that transfer is reflected in these indices, and also on your whatever account you have, whether it's coin. What's it called again? Coinbase. I'm sorry, Coinbase. I'm in America, so I'm utilizing. Excuse me. Let me see. Get this going here. So I'm utilizing Coinbase more and more often because I'm realizing, where a exchange or wallet or a company is based out of gives you more or less protection as a rightful owner or as an investor in that particular market. So since I'm in America, I want my coins to be in America because I know I may not be. I mean, Bitcoins may not be protected or backed by any government, but what is protected is my money is protected by the government. All right, my U.S. dollars, and so having a U.S. company for me holding onto my Bitcoins is really important, and I would encourage anybody out there, wherever you're from, to always have that little reserve in your country, if there is such a thing in your country. Now some countries will not have anything like a Coinbase like here in America. It's kind of unfortunate, but I don't know what to say to you guys. But I'm in America, so you'll have an idea what it's like, at least, or some people will actually know what I'm talking about. I'm just trying to make it so you got a view of something. So that's my phenomenon here, and that's the interesting thing about Bitcoin that I'm experiencing. Now I'm not no physics person. I'm not an economist or anything, but this is kind of what I'm noticing, and what I'm experiencing, and I don't know if anybody else is experiencing the same particular phenomenon, where you have physical money being transacted for a digital product. Those two never cross each other's path, really. But at the same time, the money, the fiat currency, it's still here, but yet the digital Bitcoin, is somehow I've transferred that money value into a Bitcoin. And so that's an interesting phenomenon where I could have two values of at one particular point in time be of equal value, but be at two different places, literally. And I don't know if that's re-breaking the laws of physics here with Bitcoin or anything, but I just want to share that with you because I'm noticing that, and I think that's where the value is somehow being transferred into Bitcoin. Ironically, I don't know, you know. And so if you ask me where the value comes from, and I keep saying it comes from money, well, how does that value transfer into Bitcoin? That's my. So when I said that, I said, well, how does the value of Bitcoin, how does money get transferred into Bitcoin? How does that value transfer? So hopefully I kind of explained it that way, and I don't know what to say about it. I mean, it's just a strange phenomenon that you can have two things be of equal value, but be in two different places at that instant, that singular moment in time, right? And so, but what happens after that is kind of interesting, is that the value, since Bitcoin has no face value, it only has that transferred value, that it can fluctuate in price. So, but here in America, the US dollar has a face value. It will always be $100, no matter what. So, when I said, where does Bitcoin get its value from? From money, and it's not just because you bought something for it. It's because you actually transferred value. You actually transferred the value into Bitcoin. You really did do that. And that's why Bitcoin is worth whatever it's worth. And so it's the same concept as, we transferred value into your house, or you transferred value into your stocks, or into a commodity. So I hopefully I answered some of that questions. There was no question, but that was just a question to myself that I asked. And then my other question was, well, okay, that's great. Actually, what was my other question? I think I had a second question. Oh, sorry, I forgot, man. I'm just thinking right on the fly here as I'm trying to communicate this to you. So you got to forgive me. But I'll try to remember it. Anyways. Oh, I think I was. No. Anyways, I forgot. Sorry about that. I get so deep into this sometimes I lose track. Anyways, I wanted to share that with you because I'm noticing an increase in my Bitcoin transaction, and similar to this, what I'm seeing here. And so if this is Bitcoin, of course Mt. Gox was Bitcoin too, but unfortunately, I think I put an episode out, is basically Mt. Gox is a computer simulation. Thank God it's only a computer simulation, okay? But you have to remember that some of these things that are going here can transfer into reality, and that what you saw in Mt. Gox, which I described, is mutual annihilation, right? And that's kind of what it was anyway. But that can be brought out into the real world, and that can happen in a couple of ways. Which obviously one way was restrict the flow of Bitcoins and money, or restrict the flow of value being transferred. It's going to kill an economy, all right? And then another one is basically theft. Apparently there was theft of Bitcoins, right? So theft of money would kill an economy. So how would someone steal money from an economy, or how would someone squeeze or isolate an economy to basically kill it? Well, that's a good question. That's another episode for me to kind of get into. But what you saw at Mt. Gox can be transferred into the real world, just like how I transferred the value of money into Bitcoin. Even though those two never cross paths, Bitcoin never becomes into reality. Even if you put it onto a coin, the coin itself never it doesn't, it's not real. The number, the private key is just a representation of a Bitcoin, right? But the Bitcoin in itself, right? There really is no Bitcoin. I don't know why people say Bitcoin, but I'll just say Bitcoin because it's just it's just a record and a log of that's all it is, and it's digital, purely digital. That's all it is. So, anyways, I just want to let some people know my experience and the way I see what Bitcoin is and how it can work for me is that everything that I can do digitally, I can transfer into the real world. And so that's kind of how I view Bitcoin. It's not just a payment method or electronic thingamajiggy or a fad. It's for me, it really is a very powerful financial tool that I recommend everyone have, everybody, because you can do so many things with it. It's a financial weapon to defend yourself against, and I know I sound pretty extreme, but financial terrorist, cyber terrorist, all right, foreign and domestic, they're real, all right. And if you trade in Bitcoin, you've already experienced something like that already. You probably, or even if you haven't been trading Bitcoins, you've been a target of financial terrorism through, like, for example, Target, all right, Bernie Madoff, okay, stuff like that. So maybe if you never even dealt in Bitcoins, you know some of these things exist because you've obviously been affected by it. Some of you. For people who have been trading in Bitcoin, you know you're being targeted all the time um, through either scammers, thieves, financial terrorists, cyber terrorists. And one of the reasons why is because of the blockchain. It's the very same reason why um, Bitcoin users use Bitcoin. All right, and so everyone can see where the Bitcoins are, who has how many Bitcoins, what was moved, what was not moved. I mean, so it's an open book for some of these nefarious organizations. I don't know if they're nefarious organizations, but they're definitely nefarious. Uh, you know, so um, they're there. They're real. So, but other things you can do is you can actually use it to store the value of your money, even though it does fluctuate. But that's all right because you understand what this is. And in the end, like I said, what you're really doing is you're taking physical money, transferring value into the Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin can transfer value on your trading platform or your Coinbase or whatever. You know, it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is you'll be able to uh, take advantage of the fluctuations in price, um, and then just as easily as you bought a Bitcoin, you transferred the value of your money into a Bitcoin. Um, what I also do is do it the other way. I transfer the value of Bitcoin back into, um, typically it's done through a legal tender of whatever, jurisdiction I'm at. Since I'm in America, I'll be, U.S. dollars, and then I'll be able to, purchase other assets, investments. Um, if it's in another country, I would try to convert my bitcoins to whatever legal tender of that country to invest in whatever I want to invest. So just as easy as you got into it, you should also be able to easily transfer that value into the physical world. So that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say you're transferring the value of legal tender to a financial instrument, and then either through your trading, your gains, however you do it, um, you know, you should be able to transfer that value back out into reality, either through a legal tender or maybe even through a trade in and of itself. You know, you could buy a house, you could buy, I don't know, you wouldn't buy a car as an investment, but you could, you know, make other purchases of other investments with your Bitcoin if someone will accept it. Ideally, that's what I would like to do. But if not, you know, converting it to a legal tender, there's nothing wrong with it. If you have to convert it to legal tender, that's what you just have to do. You know, there's no if, ands, or buts. So, anyways, I kind of want to I want to wrap this up here, and so I if anybody out there wants to know how well I'm doing in trading or how bad I'm doing in trading, I can honestly say I've taken a loss this year so far because of Mt. Gox. Again, I have to I'll probably have to take that as a loss. I don't expect to see any money coming out of Mt. Gox anytime soon. Like, I never really did anyway. If they're willing to give me my bitcoins, I will take the bitcoins. I will take the value in bitcoins anytime over money, over fiat currency. But seeing how there's no bitcoins to be given, that may be an issue. So, anyways, I'm just gonna have to take that as a loss, and it's gonna have to probably carry me over this year and carry it over into next year. But that being said, my trades have gone to a point very similar to this chart here. And remember, I only started not too long. I've only been doing this for at least 2-3 months, but my trades are very similar, where I've gotten a little spike here in the beginning, then it kind of slowed down, and now it's just taking off. And so it's really mimicking a lot of what's going on here as this chart is revealing. And I'm assuming it'll do the same thing, where I'll get a huge spike and then it'll go down, and then I'll get another spike and it'll go down, and hopefully I'll just get another spike and it'll go down. And that's just the way of life of a trader. I should just put it this way. This is when people want to sell. This is when people want to buy. This is people that want to sell. They want to sell at the highest price, and they want to buy in at a lower price. And that's kind of, I should put it that way, because I do buy and sell. So right now we're in a very low price here, so I'm getting a lot more. I'm getting a lot of buy orders. I'm assuming as soon as prices go up here, they wanna sell like crazy. They wanna, you know, they want to get paid. So there's another way for me to take advantage of that kind of market as well. But either way, it's all perspective how you look at it. So sorry about that. This concludes this episode. Sorry, there's no chart analysis right now, because let's just take a quick look at it then. Okay, let's just take a quick look. I'm going to look at it at a 12-hour period, because I think that's more, you just have to put into a perspective here. Now, what I've seen here is it looks just like a downtrend. I mean, even on these averages, it looks like it's not breaking through. It's trying to. It's really from here on, it's just trying to break through. It's almost trying to break through. It might even actually break through, because it's if you look on the line, it's almost at that point where it's trying to. But at the same time, if you look at the average, and these are normal averages, which may mean that there could be a turnover here soon. If you put a weighted average on here, you might see a very close, but then again, you have to wait 12 hours. So for one of these candlesticks to show up, it's got to be 12 hours. So you got for two, it has to be a whole day. So you're gonna have to wait like probably 2-3 weeks before this thing actually shows a confirmation of an uptrend. That's the problem with the longer hour periods. So this is Bitstamp, and I'm just going to mainly talk about Bitstamp, because right now they are the highest in price. So that's what I'll talk about. If you look at Bitsy, I'll go and show Bitsy as well. And Bitsy is just let me see, 12. That's 1 day. Sorry, 1 day here. Let's go to a 12. And Bitsy is just doing the same thing. It's at a lower price, and if you know why it's at a lower price, because it's harder to get money into it. They charge more for you to fund it, and then on top of that, I've heard from other miners that it's hard to get money out. I don't know how true that is, but anyways, I'll for people who trade on Bitsy, excuse me. Here you go, and it's doing the same thing. You know, if you put a line there, it's trying to break out. Um, so that's that. Another thing I may look at is this Chinese market here. So I'll go ahead and I'll open up another link here to see what's going on here, and it's pretty much doing the same thing as well. So that's kind of where we're at right now in the charts. There could be a possible breakout. I don't know. It doesn't matter for me. I'm always buying and selling. I'm taking advantage of people panicking and selling, and I'm taking advantage of people panicking to buy. So the things that I have planned for it are maybe way different than what some other people have planned for it. Anyways, that concludes this episode. Hope you all enjoyed it, and hope some of my views on Bitcoin or you know, my ideas on Bitcoin can help you in your trade. And until next time, I guess comment, like, dislike, even do a video response. Until next time, stay tuned. Bye.